guys, it's Megan
and Liz, and welcome back to part 2 of the songwriting episode on Noted.
Yeah, so let's just dive right in.
Yeah, let's just dive right in.
Yeah.
Because we just have so much to talk about.
Yes.
Let's talk about like the logistics of songwriting and how songwriters make money and how songwriters are kind of mad right now because of the music industry. Classic.
Yeah, so songwriters, there's like a lot of different ways that they make money. First of all, it is rarely, if ever, I'm paying you X amount to write this song.
Oh, never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's usually always on the back end, and every songwriter kind of has like a different deal.
Mm-hmm. A publishing deal.
Yeah. Well, or not.
Oh, yeah, or not, I guess.
There's just always something written in paper on, like, if it's an even split, which would mean if there are 4 of you in the room, you each get 25% of the song.
And what it makes.
Yeah. Yes. But, you know, if the songwriter is also a producer, which we've touched on, you might do something like splitting the master 50-50 as opposed to doing an equal split, so that the songwriter / producer makes more money on the back end. But that split also goes into play if there is like a commercial that the song gets.
Before,
yeah. So if that were the case, like say it was $100,000 that you got paid for the placement of this commercial, each of you would make $25,000. But that's one thing that's kind of nice about songwriting royalties, is that the label can't really touch songwriting
because
royalties.
you have a publishing deal,
Yeah.
which is a completely different monster from if you're an artist and a songwriter. Like, we had a publishing distribution, which is, I'm not going to get into all that, but like, basically we had 2 different we were represented as artists, and then we were represented as songwriters. And if you're just a songwriter, like you are not an artist and all you do all day is write songs, then you have a publishing deal. And that's also how songwriters make a lot of money, is like, if you have a million smashes in a year, and then your publishing deal is coming up to a close and you have to renegotiate with your publisher, you can renegotiate for like a huge signing bonus or a huge, like, I've proven to write and generate this much revenue for whatever. If you can prove that, you good.
Sorry. Like, if you're watching this on video, this is so chaotic. My mic is just like not in a good spot. Okay, I feel better about this. Okay.
But yeah, if you can prove that you have written smash hits and you've made this much money for the label, for the publisher, then you can go back to your publisher and be like, look, here's how much money I made, and here's how much money I want. And you can just demand pretty much whatever you want when you get to a certain point. And that's where you make the big bucks as a songwriter. And also, so Chris Stefano is a good example. So he wrote the song Something Bad with Carrie Underwood and Miranda Lambert.
Yes.
That song was then reworked into the Sunday Night Football, NFL football song.
Yep.
Oh, Sunday night.
I remember we heard that, we were like,
no, the amount of money that I'm assuming here, like, we don't know, like, we wrote songs with this man, but like, we don't keep up with him personally. I don't know, but I can assume that NFL contract with that song, because he wrote it. He still wrote it. So it's like he's getting, oh my God, it's played every Sunday night on NFL football on, it's insane.
I'm pretty sure he wrote the Waiting All Day for Sunday Night.
Yeah.
That one too. Now I want to look it up, but I'm not sure. I think he wrote that. I might be wrong.
But that is how you make a boatload of cash.
So obviously, like we said, most of songwriting royalties come, like the big bucks come from getting syncs, etc., because you just don't make a lot of money on streams. But I mean, obviously, if your song has like 1 billion streams, like, yeah, you're gonna make some money.
It's not gonna be like, you know, buy a house in the hills money on just streams, but it's gonna be a nice paycheck, that's for sure. Like a very sustainable, like, you can buy maybe a nice
Condo.
Yeah, if you have a song or two that has 1 billion streams.
Oh yeah.
But yes, but songwriters are upset, and there's a lot of like legislation that songwriters are like pushing for because streams are just so like an artist makes more than the songwriter most of the time because they're like the performer and the songwriter, whereas like the songwriter, you're just a songwriter, so you are making like pennies
pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, and it sucks because if you're a decently good songwriter and you have decent hits, not in the billions, but whatever, like you are scraping by on these streams. And a lot of songwriters treat their job like a 9 to 5, where they write a song every day, and they clock in, you know, at 11 where their start usually start time is like 11, and then you go home at night and you wake up the next morning and you do it again. With the hope of that somebody will cut the song. Let's go into the cutting of the songs. That's fun.
Yeah, so to cut a song basically means to take a song that you did not write and make it your own. So honestly, I have nothing against cutting a song. The only reason we never did was just we weren't ever really presented with any that I was like, this is spectacular, like I want to cut it. But that's the whole point, is like, you know, people cut songs because you have to think that these songwriters are, like you just said, treating this like a 9 to 5 job, and odds are that they're gonna get a hit because you're an artist, you're taking, you know, days off, you're touring, you're doing press, like you're just not writing as much as these songwriters are. So odds are that these songwriters are gonna get a hit more frequently than you are as an artist in the room.
And it used to be something that like artists did more in like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s,
like 90s country. That's like all cut songs, like early 2000s country.
Same with like Celine Dion. Like I don't think she wrote anything.
Oh, I want to like go look now.
I really don't think that she did.
Interesting.
Same with like Faith Hill, but that was like the standard back then. Like songwriters wrote the songs and then they got their demos to the artist or to their label, and then the label was like, we like this for this artist and whatever.
And now the name of the game is more like, as a songwriter, your goal is to get in the room with the artist because that's how your song's going to get cut more likely.
Let's talk about that, because I feel like there are some artists I know who are writing their songs, quote unquote. Like if you look on the songwriting credit, they're a writer on it, and it's like, babes, you didn't write it. You were in the room and you said, I like it.
No, I think that's a great point. I think that is just the new currency.
It is.
It's like, you as a songwriter, you don't care if they write a single word, because if they cut it, that's money for you.
Yep. So you're willing to be like, they didn't write a single word, but they were in the room and they liked it.
Their ticket to a song on the radio and money in the bank is being in the room with that artist, and they do not care how much the artist actually writes or not.
And that's not the case for every artist. No. We're not saying that. But for a few, I can definitely think of that it's like, there's no way she's sitting in there writing a song. There's no way she's sitting in there with her laptop open being like, I love the way this progression goes. Like, there's just no way.
Let's try singing it this way.
Like, there's no way that is happening for, like, a handful of artists. But it's okay. Which, let's go into, like, when there's 16 writers on a song. Because that is so funny.
I feel like whenever I see 16 writers on a song, it automatically makes me not like it very much.
Well, how does that happen?
So it's usually a situation of, it started off as somebody had a demo, and then
like 4 people had a demo.
Yeah. And then they were like, somebody else heard it and they were like, oh, I want to get me and this guy or me and this girl to, I think you could do this and it would be even better. So then that turns into 6 writers. And then the same thing happens. It just keeps happening over and over and over again. It's like everybody wants in on this song, and you change one line or one melody and you're a writer on the song. And
or you were literally just in the room.
Yeah.
Sometimes like an engineer or something, which like God love engineers. Like that's the person that like sometimes is quite literally sitting there like pushing the buttons.
Yeah.
Like if they say like, yeah, I like that, songwriting credit. Like not all the time.
If they're in the room most of the time, I mean, if they're like a strictly engineer, that's different.
But depending on the situation and depending on like the artist and the producer and whatever, like the producer could be like, I want my engineer to have a credit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, like
it's so chaotic.
And then you add an artist on top of it.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
and sometimes the artist will be like, well, I don't want to cut it if I'm not listed as a songwriter.
Yes.
And then all the songwriters are like, okay, well, it's not going to get cut if we don't get it.
Yes. And yeah. So
basically across, I think the common thread across the board here is the goal is just to get the song cut and get it on the cutting room floor of somebody's album or a single, because that's the only way anything has a chance of seeing the light of day.
Yeah. So it's really like when the evolution, like it's not like there's actually 18 people in a room and you're like, you picture a studio just packed with people and they're all like, oh, I like this. I like this. No.
So many cooks in the kitchen.
No, it's usually, yeah, like they start with one evolution of the song, then it gets in someone else's hands and it gets in someone else's hands or whatever. But so that's how that works.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to always see, like, you can see the evolution sometimes if you know the writers.
Yeah.
And you know their style. You're like, oh, I see, like, then they got in this hands and like whatever.
Yeah. Or they could have like this demo and just be like, we're really stuck here. I think we should bring in so-and-so. They could really take it home. Like, it's so interesting when that happens.
Let's circle back to cutting, actually, because I wanted to talk about specific songs that have more than one version.
Oh my gosh. Okay, the first one that I think of off the top of my head is Closer by the Chainsmokers.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my gosh, so many people cut that song.
So
Same
many
with
people.
The Middle.
Yep.
By Zed. So many people cut that song. And you know what's so interesting to me is that most of the time, and this is something that songwriters do, they will have somebody that sounds like the artist they want to cut it, sing the demo.
Yep.
So they can like hear the artist when they're listening, be like, oh, I can hear myself, or the label, oh, I can hear that artist on there. Like they intentionally find somebody to sing the demo that sounds like
the middle.
artist.
The middle wasn't intentional, but like if you can, which if we can find it, we'll play it.
Yeah.
Like, but
the original
demo of the middle, it's one of the songwriters that's singing it. She sounds exactly like Maren Morris.
And so that wasn't a situation where, obviously, because I'm sure Maren Morris was not their first. She's a country artist.
She was, no.
But that was a situation of classic demoitis, which demoitis is something that Zed and the other songwriters had with that song. They got so used to hearing this smash hit with that songwriter's voice that anybody else who cut the middle,
it didn't sound right.
So that's why I think ultimately Maren ended up getting it, was because she sounded the most like
the demo singer. Yeah.
You got the world at your feet, but a great big ocean in between. So roll down your sleeves, and baby, don't speak. Pull me closer, why don't you pull me close? Why don't you come on over? Why don't you let me know? Oh baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle? I'm losing my mind just a little. So why don't you just meet me in the middle? In the middle. Baby, why don't you just meet me in the middle? I'm losing my mind just a little. So why don't you just meet me in the middle? In the middle. Oh, we don't need a sign.
So if you look it up, there's like, who else cut the middle? I mean, it was so many people. Like Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato. I mean, I know it was sent to a lot.
Yeah.
It was sent to like almost every single female artist that could possibly sing, I think.
And then Closer, I know that there's a version like you can access pretty easily of Camila Cabello.
I think Camila Cabello cut the middle too.
Yeah, I feel like she did as well. Yeah, Camila Cabello is really missing out.
Yeah.
Hey, of a sunset. Color my sky so I forget you won't stay. Oh no, hey, play that Blink-182 song. Let's forget these things we do wrong, okay? Yeah, you know it broke my heart. Moved to the city and I broke down crying. Oh, flaming young sky, now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar, and I can't stop. Oh no, I can't stop. Yeah.
So baby, pull me closer in the backseat of your Rover that I know you can't afford. Bite that tattoo on your shoulder. Pull the sheets right off the corner of the mattress that you stole from your roommate back in Boulder.
No, we ain't never getting older.
I feel like there was an era there too with Jordan Sparks where she was cutting like
Oh yeah,
all
what
these
did
songs.
she cut?
Who
That
says?
was Who Says by Selena Gomez. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a version of Jordan Sparks singing Who Says.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember hearing that was supposed to be like Jordan's
Yeah.
big song. Like
Selena
her
just swooped
yeah,
it
and
out.
Selena just somehow got it.
Yeah.
Big Girls Don't Cry is one that I like to reference a lot because didn't Jordan Pruitt cut it?
Yes. Yes.
Who, if you don't know Jordan Pruitt, I'm sure you do.
You do.
Um,
Outside Looking In.
yeah.
You don't know
That's
my
her, like, she's got a
name.
bigger song on that, though.
No, that's her big one.
Is it?
You don't know how it feels to be your own best friend. On the outside looking in. Disney days, yeah.
I love her. But anyways, yeah, she had cut Big Girls Don't Cry.
Which is wild, and obviously that ended up going to Fergie.
Yeah. It's just crazy because, like, there are so many instances of, like, that song was supposed to be for that artist.
I know.
And
We should link, I know that there's a YouTube video out
we should
there
link it.
of different people cutting different versions. Like, I know there's one of Closer, I know there's one of The Middle. So we should
Okay.
find those and put those in the show notes.
Okay.
But yeah, speaking of cutting songs, I think that's a really good way to segue into the time we cut a Diane Warren song.
Diane Warren, man. What has she written? I mean, she's written everything.
Yeah, she wrote a bunch of stuff, I'm pretty sure, on the A Star Is Born soundtrack
Yes,
with
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. Yeah, like
Off the top of my head, I like can't remember her a bunch of them, but like, I mean, we're talking. She's a legend, and she writes them by herself. She just like writes them by herself.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we got this opportunity where she had reached out to us, or like our manager had reached out to her. I don't remember the specifics, but all I remember is Diane Warren had a song that would have fit with us. That was the pitch. Like, it was just, there's a Diane Warren song that seemed to match up.
So we got sent the song, and not gonna sugarcoat it, we were like,
We don't like it.
yeah, we were like, we don't like it. And our management was like, no, I think you should record it.
They were like, no, this is Diane Warren. Like, you can't
you
just
have
like
to cut
turn down a Diane Warren song. You have to cut it. And like Megan had said, we hadn't come across a song that we felt that passionately about to the point where we were like, we want to cut this song in our whole career.
And we were like, this is not going to be the one that we kick it off with.
We just, yeah, like, it was a fine song. It didn't really fit us.
Yeah.
But our management was like, no, this is an opportunity that like is once in a lifetime. Like, if Diane Warren says that she has a song that she wants you to cut, you cut it.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay.
So we were like, okay, like, maybe with our voices on it and like our own like spin on it, it'll sound more like us, and maybe we'll like it.
Yeah.
And
Spoiler alert. We didn't like it.
We still didn't like it.
It was just too, I think it was just a little too young for us at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I think if we had heard that when we first started, we
Yes.
probably would have ended up cutting it. But our music had, like, grown.
Matured.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
since
was during our like Max Martin era.
Yeah, this was, like, right on the heels of Release You, I believe.
Yeah.
Or right before we released Release You.
So it was really a time where we were like coming into our own as songwriters, and like we felt like we had a sound and like whatever.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the song just like didn't hit quite right. But
It was still a wild experience.
let's talk about the experience.
I remember the studio was, like, not your typical studio. It was in like a high-rise building in downtown Hollywood.
Los Angeles, yeah.
And I remember like it was just weird because it felt like it should have been a corporate office, but it was a studio.
Mm-hmm. And I remember we like showed up to record and Diane was like working out.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like in her studio space. It was like the whole floor of like an apartment almost.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't an apartment, but it felt like a whole floor of one.
Yeah, it felt like a business on a floor of an apartment.
Yes.
It was weird.
Because there was like a kitchen and like then there's like the actual studio.
Uh-huh.
And I remember we like show up and there's like a whole like gym. Like there's a gym on the floor. Like a at-home gym.
Between you and me, we remember everything, and I don't remember that.
Yeah. And I remember she was like working out. And we like get off the elevator and she's like in her workout clothes, like lifting weights, like on the treadmill, like the whole thing. You don't remember that?
No.
And I remember her just being like, yeah, you know, like if I don't do it now, I won't get it in. So we're like going to record this song in like the middle of the day and she's working out.
I literally don't.
I mean,
listen.
she'd already done her work. You know what I mean? Like, she already wrote the song. Like, it's not like we were co-writing with her, but, and then she like, we went to go record with the engineer and the producer, and she just like kept popping in and was like, "How's it going?" You know, like whatever. But she was very much doing her own thing.
Why do I feel like she, if I remember this correctly, didn't she make us like we had basically the whole song recorded, and then she made us like sing the whole thing again, basically?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Cause she heard it a different way or something.
Yeah.
And I remember we were like, what?
Yeah, which was a very interesting experience.
Yeah.
Again, because it was almost like she is an artist. I mean, that's what a songwriter is, but we had never had a songwriter, and I guess we never cut a song.
Yeah.
So we never had a songwriter tell us how they wanted us to sing it.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. And we weren't like, it wasn't like we were mad or anything. It was just like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this is a really interesting experience. Yeah. And then also, do you remember her parrot?
No, why don't I remember?
Oh my God, there's a photo of like us with the parrot.
Where?
Yeah, I think one of us posted it. Like, it's like a picture of like, it might be you, it might be me. I don't remember, but I remember the photo of like us like standing at like the cage, like looking at the parrot in the eye. Like, she had this parrot that was in the studio.
Dude, okay. Trigger of a memory there, but like not really. Yeah. Like that whole session like really left my brain.
Yeah. No, it really stuck with me for whatever reason. It's iconic. Like literally, it's iconic that we got to like meet with her and work with her.
And she was so nice.
She was very, very nice.
We like saw her again like a couple weeks later at like a red carpet, and we took that cutie little red carpet picture.
We'll have to post that one.
Yeah.
Like, she's an iconic woman who has written iconic songs.
Yeah.
And I remember when we passed on it, because, like, it wasn't just us. Like, our manager at the time was like, yeah, it's not quite working. Yeah, like, whatever.
Like a little young, yeah.
And I remember, like, didn't she say, like, big mistake or something? She said something along those lines in an email back that was like, you're going to regret it, or, like, big mistake. And we were like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it was just too, it was too Disney, kind of. Mm-hmm. And that's what we were trying to get away from.
And it also was not a ballad.
Yeah.
Which I feel like her strengths are ballads, you could argue. Like, all of her biggest smashes hits are ballads.
I like need to go through Diane Warren's catalog
now.
No,
you do.
I'm like, so
I do too, but
I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but
yeah. So and spoiler alert, the song, I haven't heard that song anywhere. Like, I don't think, I don't regret it.
No,
I don't regret it.
I don't regret really any of that whole experience, though, to be quite honest. Like, it was one for the books, literally.
It was one for the books. Yeah, that was our experience cutting a song.
Yes,
quote unquote.
So I think we should talk about writing "Bad for Me,"
our biggest song that we will never ever shut up about.
No, why would we?
I'm not going to.
So I remember going into this day or into this session being just nervous already because it was with Martin Johnson from Boys Like Girls, and obviously we were huge Boys Like Girls fans. So we showed up. We got there like a little early, and Martin walks in, and he is like just your classic rock star. Okay, like it's not an act. Like he just is. Like he's just a star. And he walked in. He's got like his leather jacket on, his ripped jeans, his boots,
tattoos, the necklaces.
Yeah, and he walks in. He's just like, hey, like sorry I'm late, you know. And Liz and I are just like,
oh my god. And he's tall, and like
so tall.
He has this presence that you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like
he really like
he's a star.
He's a star. Yeah, he if you compare it to Max, it's like Max could be anybody on the street almost. Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't have that like
he's like a quiet genius.
A quiet genius.
Yeah.
Whereas Martin is he walks in the room and you're like,
he sucks up all the air in the room.
Yes. Yeah. In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he walked in and he later told us that going into that writing session, they had emailed him separately saying, you know, just explaining the situation of like we had just won like literally 2 weeks before the Macy's iHeart.
But we hadn't yet.
I thought we had.
No.
I think, oh, no. Okay, I think what it was we were in this contest and we needed a song that if we won, it would have been like our hit. Yeah. So which glad that worked out for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he said that he walked into that session just like knowing that we needed a hit basically. And let me tell you, Martin Johnson is a hit maker.
He is. If you look up his discography.
Yeah, like just as a writer. I mean, obviously his Boys Like Girls stuff, like
incredible.
The Great Escape,
please
forget about it.
Please.
So even just as a Boys Like Girls writer, those songs were incredible. But him as a songwriter, he has written huge songs. His most recent biggest one, I think, is Drunk and Don't Want to Go Home.
By Elle King, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Betty Who stuff.
He wrote The Other Side by Jason Derulo.
Yeah.
So he's also just an incredible writer. So that whole session, I remember I was like really starstruck the whole time. And Martin as a writer, he kind of like hears the song like as like he's writing it. It's the craziest thing. So like he wrote the main hook, "You Make Me Feel So Right." I remember he was like, "You Make Me Feel So Right."
We had a track.
Yes, we had a track
that was like
Sweet Adam.
Adam.
No, Rob. It was Rob. Rob Hawkins.
Rob Hawkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember we were just sitting there and it was kind of like watching a genius work, and we would just kind of chime in every now and then. Like we were stuck on the lyric for "This one's for the girls messing with the boys." Like, and then Liz goes, "He's the melody and she's background noise," and he was like, "Yes."
Oh my god, stop.
So yeah, it was a quick collaborative experience. It was one of the quickest collaborative experiences. It was just so like back forth, like yes, like
he's just so confident and so like powerful that like he walks in, he's like, "This is a smash. Here's the chorus. Here's this idea." And it's just like, you're right. Like he's just you're right. And and it hits you so hard, and like his melodies are so unique, and like
but they're all smashes.
Like he's just a really, really, and we just clicked really well with him, and I think he really like took us under his wing, honestly, not only because it would help the song, but I think he just wanted to help us out. Yeah,
I mean, he was the big brother that we never had. Yeah, I truly feel like that. He was just such a great guy, great person. Love him. And he's like so kind, like truly such a kind person.
Yeah, like he really, like I remember one time when for the song "Look What You Started," which never saw the light of day. Kind of did. We've really leaked that one hard. That was supposed to be the title track of our album, and I remember we were just like in Nashville. He was writing in Nashville because I think he still lived in LA at the time. He was writing with his friend and co-writer Danny Orton, who has written a lot of other stuff as well. And he just like texted us or called us and was like, "Hey, I'm writing this song and I think it's perfect for you guys, and I want you to come over to Danny's house right now. like to finish writing it with us. And we were like,
we had just gotten out of a session, I remember.
Yeah.
And we like were like, okay, like, yeah, we're
when
gonna go.
Martin says, I have a song for you,
Yeah.
I think it's perfect for you,
You
and I
go.
want you to come finish it, you go.
Yeah. So yeah, that was how Look What You Started came to be. And just our time with Martin was so great, so spectacular. You ran into him semi recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it was 2 years ago.
He was dating his now wife.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like 2 years ago, and he was so nice.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, I look at your Instagram every now and then, like it's very Pinterest, and I was like, thanks, Martin. Yeah, so he was like so nice, and he was with Brandon, who was the engineer on Bad for Me, I think.
No, I think he did the stuff with Feldman because he was with John Feldman.
Oh, I forgot we did Sunset Somewhere with Martin.
Yeah,
we wrote a lot with Martin.
I know, because I mean we vibed.
Yeah,
like,
we vibed, and
yeah.
he just like really fit well for us in that like we need big, full, like loud pop songs,
Yeah.
and he really fit that for us
for sure. I think he came in with that idea because he had just written Make It in America, I think, for Victoria Justice.
Yep.
And he was just like feeling that like
America,
like driving around like vibe. And I think we touched on how we did, and how Sunset Somewhere, the lyric was supposed to be there ain't no beach in Nashville.
No, I don't think we've said that.
Because we were talking about how like for certain lyrics won't get played on radio.
I don't think we talked about
really?
that.
I thought we did.
No.
Well, if we didn't, the original lyric for Sunset Somewhere was "There ain't no beach in Nashville." But then we ultimately took that out because we didn't want to make Nashville seem like a negative place.
Because it's where we lived and like where we were writing, and it just it felt like we were like, we want to be LA instead of Nashville. And like that wasn't the case.
No.
But I remember he was not happy when we changed that line.
He wasn't. He thought it made it like cooler, and which I agree, it did make it cooler.
Yeah.
But like ultimately, I'm so glad we decided to take that out. So yeah, we did Sunset Summer with him. That one wrote itself quick.
Yeah.
All the songs we wrote with him were quick.
Yeah. John Feldman is an interesting character as well.
Yeah, John Feldman. He was so nice though. Him and his whole family were so nice.
But he's like a really big writer.
Yeah.
When we were at his studio, that's when Joe Manganiello just like walked in the studio.
From the story time episode.
Yeah, that's the
that
studio
was
that
John
we were
Feldman.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, we wrote Dare.
No, okay. We didn't write that with Martin though.
No.
Yes, I'm so sorry, John Feldman. I'm truly so sorry, but my least favorite song that we've ever written that is out to the world is a song called Dare, which I know all of y'all are going to go listen to now, but I hate it so much, and I hate it. I just hate it.
So we wrote a lot with John Feldman. I remember he had so many plaques on his wall. Like so many plaques.
Yeah.
It was always so intimidating to go into a writing session with an artist or writer who had like plaques all over the walls. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Like platinum record.
Yeah,
like
gold, like multi-platinum.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Feldman was a good one. Okay. Somebody else that we wrote with before they were like huge was John Knight. Mm-hmm. If you know the song Locked Out, that one has been leaked as well. That one's on YouTube. Mm-hmm. You keep me coming and running until I break down. That was John Knight and
Jacques something.
Is that Jacques?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts with a B. Jacques.
Yeah. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
But John Knight's just like huge now.
Huge.
And I remember that writing session so vividly because I was dating this stupid boy at the time, and he's not a man. He was a boy. He's still probably a boy. And I had flown in that morning to make it to this writing session, and I remember I went in with just like such low expectations because I was so tired, and it ended up being like one of my favorite songs, and I still love it to this day.
I know. That's definitely one that we were like, that should have been on our album.
Yeah.
But
no, it was saved. It was on the list.
Yeah. Another writer who we worked with a lot was somebody named Jimmy Robbins.
Oh, yeah. And Jimmy Robbins now, again, just massive. He's a producer and writer.
But I remember when we first wrote with this man, he's like basically our age. I think he's 2 or 3 years older than us.
Maybe, yeah.
I remember we drove out to Murfreesboro, which if you're not familiar with like the Nashville like location, Murfreesboro is a good solid hour outside of Nashville, and we were writing in his like little apartment, and it was very humble beginnings. But we wrote Runaway with him, we wrote Old School Love. I'm trying to think, I know we did another one with him, but I can't remember. But anyways, but he is a massive songwriter. Like he now has written The Bones by Maren Morris, Sure Be Cool If You Did, Blake Shelton, Half of My Hometown, Kelsey Ballerini, Kenny Chesney. He's just a massive songwriter.
And yeah, we literally, so did Whit. Whit wrote with him too.
Yep.
But yeah, he's also just a very, very sweet man, very humble, very great songwriter.
It's just crazy to see. Like we always say, it's like your class of people that you work with. Like our class of people have gone on to do such incredible things.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It really is.
Yeah. Somebody else who we wrote with that is one of my favorite songs that I don't even know if we can play the demo because we're not singing on it. She's singing on it.
I like her version of the demo better.
I know, because it feels a little weird because it's like, yes, we wrote the song, but we're not singing it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't totally feel like ours, but it's Liz Hewitt, of Taylor Swift fame, I guess, if you want to like connect her to something. She was Taylor Swift's background singer on like the first half of her career. I feel like she just was in that community, you know, very like so much lore around her.
I loved that song.
But she's a great songwriter and she's a great singer.
She's a great artist.
Like her voice is so cool
and unique.
Yeah. And we wrote a song that I really like with her called Don't. And I love that song. But I love her version. You're right. Yeah. Like if we sang it, like I don't know that I'd love it as much.
Oh, I just replayed the time that I saw her at Rocketown. Do you remember that? And it was dark in there, and I like went to give her a hug, and she like didn't recognize me.
Yeah.
And she like backed away, and then she like held her phone up, and then she saw it was me.
Yeah.
It's like that reel I just sent you. The girl puts the food down, and she's like, "Enjoy."
Yeah.
To the waitress. That's literally.
You replay that a lot. And I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But she's really sweet.
No, she is really sweet. It's just like, why did I go up to like hug somebody in a dark room? That's so dumb.
You know, Megan, you were excited.
I was okay. Yeah,
you were excited.
You're right. You know, another demo that I would love to play is y'all all probably know Habit. So we wrote that one with Casey Brown and Parker Welling, who again now are like huge
songwriters.
And we wrote 2 other songs with them, 3 other songs with them.
We could not stop with them.
Yeah, we wrote like 2 a day.
Yeah.
So Hand on Mine and
Habit
ended up coming out, and I really loved Easier. But that one just never had an opportunity to come out. It's just like a classic heartbreak song, and I really think that this is like the space to play it.
Yeah, play it.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, this one's called Easier.
10 seconds of relief where there used to be one. Put a pillow in the place where the shape of your body was. It felt like putting a band-aid on a bullet hole. Helped for a minute but it didn't hold. 10 seconds of relief where there used to be one. It's getting easier to pretend it's getting easier. Oh God, I wish easier felt easier today. I could fake a good smile where there used to be none. I could even say your name out loud if I drank enough. Feels like wearing the skin of who I was. Make believe for a minute I'm not messed up. I can fake a good smile where there used to be none. It's getting easier to pretend it's getting easier. Well, God, I wish easier felt easier today. It's getting easier to pretend it's getting easier. Well, God, I wish easier was somewhere on its way. Little by little and night by night. Baby, I'm not better, but I'm almost fine. It's getting easier to pretend it's getting easier. Well, God, I wish easier felt easier today. It's getting easier to pretend it's getting easier. Well, God, I wish easier was somewhere on its way.
Yeah, that one I wish really had a release, but
Well, yep. I would like to play a few songs.
a few.
Well, or clips or like whatever, but
okay.
it was from our era with Dan and Alexi.
Yes. Well, these are out.
They on
They're on
SoundCloud or
YouTube.
something, or YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I would like to talk about it, I guess.
Okay.
So this is a song like Wife Me Up, and maybe if you're not familiar, we'll play just like a clip.
Yeah. So that was Losing Myself, Wife Me Up, and Make You Want Me. Yeah.
So these songs were so fun, and I felt like this was at a time when our label was like, we didn't know that our label was in turmoil.
But they were.
But they were, and we just thought that our label just was unimpressed with us. Like, we just thought that they were not happy with like the music we were writing, and that's why we weren't getting attention.
Yeah.
But turns out the label was in
About
shambles.
to shutter.
Yeah. Yeah. But so at that time, it was really interesting as songwriters and as artists, because we were like pushing ourselves so hard to like write something out of the box, to write something that's going to get their attention, to like do something we've never done before.
It felt like when you knew that, like, you know a breakup is coming.
Yeah.
And you start like changing your hair, wearing different outfits. It felt like
Yes.
very similar to that.
Seriously though. And so that's what came of it were these songs, and they're a really unique period of time for like the Megan and Liz era. And
Losing Myself, I think, was the weirdest for sure. Like, nothing like that was really out in pop.
I mean, Wife Me Up was insane.
it was insane.
It was insane.
Make You Want Me was like kind of like a safe pop song, but that was the first one we did with them. So
But it was insane, and like that was really fun.
yeah.
And probably the most like left field
Yeah.
that we have pushed ourselves as songwriters and as artists. So it was fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people always ask too, how do you become a songwriter? And honestly, it's just getting in the right rooms with the right people.
Yeah.
It's luck, it's timing, it's the
connections.
stars. Yeah, it's the stars aligning.
And talent, obviously.
Yeah. Like if you're a good songwriter and you get in the room with somebody who has more experience and is writing around town more, they're going to bring you in if you vibe with them more. It's really just like who you know.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like Belmont like offers like a songwriting course where you can like go to college to like be a songwriter. And I feel like it's beneficial in the way that like you're in Nashville and you're like, there's a lot of actually really successful songwriters that came out of Belmont. But like, it's not because they got a degree in songwriting. It's because of the connections that they made, which I personally think that you can make those without paying a college.
Like that's what the degree pays for basically is like the connections and like
the location.
Yeah. But you don't have to, I don't think go to Belmont to like get a songwriting degree. Like as long as you're in, I will say I think being in Nashville is definitely a great place to start. Yeah. Just because there are so many people writing just like all the time, all over town. I think LA is in a capacity, it's just a little more exclusive.
It's more exclusive, and I feel
like everybody's moving from LA to Nashville.
Yeah. But anyways, that is songwriting part 2. I hope you learned something. If you have questions or anything, always feel free to leave us a comment. We love talking about it. It's been such a crazy, fun part of our creative life. We will always be songwriters. I there's not a day that goes by that I don't like think about things in a songwriting lens, honestly.
Oh, one thing I do want to touch on before we wrap it up is because it's two questions that we get a lot. Number one was, how do you decide who sings what?
Oh, that's so random.
Oh, I know, but everybody, I got like a few questions on
that.
And the answer is, we say, do you want to sing it? Yeah, I'll sing it.
Yeah.
Or, no, you can sing it. That's
it. Some songs fit better with like her voice. Some songs fit better with mine. Like, it's just kind of, again, it's a case per case basis on like what works best.
Yeah, and it's never like anybody telling us what to sing or not. It's literally just, it's so uneventful.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week for a new episode of Noted.
Bye, guys.
Bye.